Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there. Welcome to New Life Live. Now this is a great hour for me because I get to spend it with two of my favorite people. One, Dr. Jill Hubbard. Hi, Jill.
Hello, Steve.
And Dr. Jim Burns. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Steve. Good to be with you.
Now, Jim and I, old friends, long time. How many years? Probably, 30, 40
I think
years?
150.
Yeah.
150.
But it felt like that. Feels
We've
like
traveled everywhere together, written books together. And Jill and I, friends for 40 years?
Yep.
Too?
I met
Never
you
been-
40 years
Yeah.
ago.
And I love to point out to people, we've never been anywhere together.
Lots of places, but with lots of people.
Yeah. So we're the example of how to have a opposite sex relationship and never get in trouble. You just, these people that push the boundaries. Don't do that. That's stupid. And look how much our friendship has grown over the years. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of times that the other person wants to be with creates a lot of conflict, a lot of arguments in any relationship. And so couples argue. Is there a way that you think, either of you, that arguments could be minimized rather than maximized in a marriage relationship? Is there anything you have that might help somebody that is just full of bitterness, resentment, or whatever leads to argument? What do you think?
Well, I think we have to turn our defensiveness into understanding and compassion, trying to get behind the other person's eyes. And that's hard to do when you're in the heat of the moment. But, taking a time out, stepping back, and trying to see what it might feel like from their perspective versus defending our position.
Yeah.
People move to defensiveness, and it doesn't work. And in fact, that's the first part to doing conflict wrong, is being defensive.
Right.
And then it leads to worse and worse and worse stuff. But Steve, as you said, as you were talking at the beginning, conflict isn't necessarily bad.
No.
You can have an argument, and it can be positive. You have to learn how to do it right. And Neil Clark Warren, who is the founder of eHarmony and has been a mentor for me for years, but he said to me, communication is a learned trait, Jim. It's not something that you just have to deal with. You can learn how to communicate in a more effective way. And I think the best thing that ever happened to me in terms of my relationship with Kathy, in terms of the side of dealing with arguments, because I don't like to argue, and she does, and was I had to learn how to communicate to her in a positive way, and that was taken on me. And so I've learned that I can have positive conflict, believe it or not, and it draws us together, but it doesn't, if I go to defensiveness, which I love to do, that's not going to work. If I look at how can we deal with this problem together, and what can I learn from it? You know what? We're going to move toward a oneness, a more authentic oneness, but it doesn't happen if we go defensive.
Right, but you do have to stay in your adult.
Yeah.
So when you find yourself not able, you do need to step back.
Yes.
And then come back and have the conversation.
Exactly.
Interesting how much more respect you get when you're the adult version of you than the little tiny baby child version.
Yeah.
And us fun-loving people, we slip into that quite easily. All right. 1-800-229-3000 to join us here. We'll take a break. Mary, we're coming right to you, Washington, D.C. She listens on Sirius XM satellite radio at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on channel 131. You could do that too, or on the YouTube channel. A lot of different ways to see us. But glad that we're going to talk to Mary here. We love you. We care about you. We have things to make your life better. But you have to call us if we're ever going to get to tell you about those things.
We went to the Intimacy and Marriage in 2019. We were both done.
This is Steve Arterburn. Do you feel like your marriage is done? New Life can help. We believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life. Our Intimacy and Marriage workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The next Intimacy and Marriage workshop is February 16th to the 18th in Orange County, California. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to experience a new level of intimacy and have a great marriage.
The transformation, phenomenal. It has transformed our lives so much.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. At the break, if you were listening to what I was listening to, you were listening to a couple who went to Intimacy and Marriage. It is so different. You know, you hear material, first of all, that you probably aren't going to hear at another workshop that provides insight into yourself and the relationship. And then you go into a group setting with 3 or 4 other couples and a Christian counselor, and you work through the conflicts and things. And it is just bizarre. In fact, I would use the word miraculous to see the kind of transformation that can occur in a weekend. And so if things just seem like they're never going to get better, or they're not so bad, but you like them better, call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and let us sign you up for the next Intimacy in Marriage Intensive. It is really a powerful, powerful experience. Well, I said we'd go to Mary. I think it's time. Mary, how you doing today? And thank you for calling us. How could we help?
Well, I suffer from one of those miserable marriages, and listening to your Intimacy and Marriage workshop, I would love to attend that, but my husband wouldn't even think twice about doing it. So
why do you think he wouldn't go? Why wouldn't he go?
He doesn't believe in counseling.
Okay, and is he having a good time here with you and your marriage, and things are going well?
No, he's angry. He's very angry. He dwells in the past.
Uh-huh.
Everything's in the past. I've tried, you leave the past in the past. We have to look forward. We're not going that way. We have to move forward.
Hey, you know what I think, Mary? I think it's not that he doesn't believe in counseling. I think he doesn't believe in a new version of himself. I think he doesn't believe that there's hope for him to live in a different way. Because, I mean, if you really thought there was hope and you were miserable, pretty good chance you would latch on to whatever could get you out of misery.
Yeah.
But I think he doesn't even believe anything will ever be different for him. In fact, I would imagine he is waiting for you to finally figure out how to make him happy, because that's why he married you, is that you were supposed to make him happy. And of course, you can't do that. And it's all unrealistic expectations. But what is it that you were hoping we'd talk about when you called? How could we help you?
To leave or not to leave, I've just been, it's been a struggle for the last 4 or 5 years. I have left before, come back because I feel like I'm being convicted because, it's my marriage. I'm supposed to make this work, make his life, wonderful. And
You know what?
I guess there's some codependency in there,
Yeah.
thinking
I was
about
thinking-
everybody else.
I was thinking that thing about you coming back might be why it's still horrible.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you came back even though nothing was different.
Yeah.
And when you come back after leaving and nothing's different, essentially you're endorsing status quo.
Yes.
Jill, what do you think when you hear
Well,
of
Mary,
the
I
situation?
just feel so sad for you
Yeah, me too.
because this does sound miserable to be in a spot where you both have no hope. And I think not only does he have no hope that he might change, it might even be that he has no hope that you would change or that you would see him. Right? We all long for deeper connection. And the fear is the other person can't go there. Right? And so that's a sad place to be when you just kind of foreclose on that and you survive in misery instead of trying to make it better. I think that you should push him some because basically he's choosing misery. And the two of you have done everything you know to do, right? And you just keep doing the same thing and it's not changing. So likely in another 5 years, you're going to be in this spot or worse, most likely.
Yeah.
Right? Until one of you
Yes.
leaves and says, I can't stand it anymore. And I'm always amazed that people, like the question is always, should I leave or should I stay? Well, how about I need to do something in between the leaving and staying? Right?
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to do everything you can possibly do. And marriage is hard. We know this, right?
Yeah, it is.
But it highlights our own weaknesses, our own shortcomings. And the goal is to draw us and build us up and move us towards the Lord, right? So you're having a lot of struggle. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But it's amazing with a few paradigm shifts how so much can melt away and there's actually renewed hope. And I think that's what our weekend does. It gives you a paradigm shift to actually start to have some hope and realize that there is love there and that a few changes can make a big difference. And so I think approaching him differently, I mean, what does he have to lose? Like we have so many people, this is last ditch effort. You know, go on this weekend as a last ditch effort. And if it doesn't help, you can tell me, see, I told you so. Right?
Okay.
But I think
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have to approach him differently. So if you come on really strong and angry, you've got to be soft and gentle. If you're always soft and gentle, well, you've got to be a little more assertive. Change up how you approach him so that he actually hears you and knows that you're serious.
And I think that's what I've been to, soft and gentle. Like I've got all these books, Love and Respect. I picked up An Even Better Marriage, and was reading that, and came out and was sharing. We need to go do something fun. We need to go do something fun, and he has so much anger in him that he's like, well, the holidays are coming up. I think we should just have 3 months and we'll see how it looks in January. And so therefore that leaves me out. I'm looking for a place to stay and,
We should have 3 months of what?
I just separate, just to be separated, to find out why we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, because he wants to know why things happened in the past,
Okay. Well,
hello. That's kind of what happens in a counseling session.
like, don't take 3 months, take 48 hours.
Yeah. So I'm going to counseling. I've got a new counselor I'm going to tomorrow. I've been jotting things down to present to her. He won't go. So I'm,
But Mary,
I'm on my own.
okay, here's the thing. The more you tell him we just have to look forward, the more he digs his heels in about the past.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
And it's a natural reaction to want to counterbalance someone who's so negative. But in doing so, you're just causing him to have to go even further in that direction because you're not hearing him. I think you should start at home by moving toward him and saying, okay, tell me from your perspective what you think I need to hear about the past. And you have to bite your tongue and just listen. What do we need to talk about? Yes, it was really bad. Yes, that was really bad. And validate him at every turn. He has to know you're really hearing him because he's becoming more and more angry.
Yes.
Right? So don't try to get him to be happy when he's not happy. Okay? Go, you're miserable. I'm miserable. You're right. It's horrible. Tell me about how you see it, because obviously I'm not getting how you see it.
Jim, your thoughts?
Yeah, Mary, that was very insightful on Jill's part. and I suggest strongly that you do it. And again, you sound like you're the one who's been, more lovey and showing kindness and whatnot. And maybe it's time to be stronger. Sometimes people do separate, and when they separate, they say, I will come back only under these conditions. And now you're a bit in charge. When a person, whoever is angry and critical and negative, they're in charge, right? So maybe it's time for you to be in charge, not that way, but to be in charge by saying, here's what it's going to take for this thing to work. But I love what both Jill and Steve said. I just want to give you a little Bible story because I think this kind of fits. So Jesus walks up to a man who had been ill for 38 years, and you've been in marriage for a long time, and the marriage sounds ill. And he asked the big question to this guy. He says, do you want to get well? And what was interesting is the guy didn't say yes. He made an excuse. At that point he was by a pool, and he said, but there's no one in here to put me into the pool, and so I can't be healed. And Jesus, I think with deep love, but also some intensity, said, pick up your mat and walk. I'm not saying for you that's for you to walk through your marriage, but when you get well and when you work on it, so I affirm you for going to counseling. I affirm you for getting the tools to help this marriage work, because it doesn't sound like he's willing to do it yet. But he's not going to do it if you keep doing the same thing. That's the definition of insanity. So, get the tools. You get well. Sounds like you're on that road already in a really good way. So get well, and let's see what happens. But you can't be responsible for his stuff. You can only be responsible for your stuff. And at the same time, when Jill said to me, in this conversation, when Jill said, no, what you got to deal with the past. Look at the past, repair the past if you can. But sometimes you repair the past not by saying, oh, we're going to make it all better, but you're saying, I can see what you're seeing. You're right. We don't have to wallow in this, pile of, junk.
Can I add something real quick? So he keeps going back 13 years ago. 13 years ago was when my only child passed away. And he keeps saying that, I've changed, of course I've changed. I lost my only child, I came to find Christ though, I've gotten involved in the church. I got sober, when we got married, we were both partying, and, so yes, I've changed, and he still partakes. And, I don't know if that's resentment that I was able, that I'm, I've carried on.
Let me say this: if it's a drug alcohol thing, then it'd be great if you were in a recovery group that.
Oh, maybe I already am.
Then, he says he doesn't believe in counseling, but does he not believe in recovery groups also?
No, well, just recently, because I co-chair your Life Recovery group here, and so I'm all about the recovery and the steps and everything, and it just you clean up so much in your past, and so there has been, he's refused to go to church, except recently he started going to, it's called the Fix Ministry here, and it's basically a ministry for, addiction and that sort of thing. So he's been going to that, and I'm so very thankful. So that's where he is. but he will not go to the recovery groups or anything other. And I'm thankful for him going to that church. You know, don't get me wrong there. So I mean, I pray and turn it over, but I'm just kind of.
Okay.
Well, and Mary, if he's still using, he is still stuck back 13 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like it was yesterday for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more question after the break, and so hang on, because got to ask you about this counseling thing. You're listening to New Life Live, and wouldn't it be sad if we didn't believe in counseling? But because we believe in counseling and have introduced people to it, boy, there are a lot of folks living a different life. I got to tell you, if it wasn't for counseling, you wouldn't be hearing my voice here. I'd be in some state ward mental hospital or something back there some way. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. I don't know of anybody that wouldn't benefit from emotional freedom. We're all bound or stuck or struggling in some area. What are we going to do there, Chris?
Just really help people get clarity around the places where they're stuck in their life. They sort of circle the same mountain of disappointment over and over and over again. You're going to be able to see that mountain clearly and get to a new place of what we call emotional freedom, which is simply I can feel in the world, build a relationship to it, and know what to do with my experiences.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, December 2nd. Steve Arterburn, Chris Williams, and Dr. Jackie McHarris will present information on trauma, depression, codependency, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or register online at newlife.com.
I've been listening to New Life for many years, gone to a few workshops. I want to support a ministry that helps people connect with God and with others and gives them the tools to help transform their lives.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Healing, 100 Days from Freedom from Shame, and 100 Days of Freedom from Anger. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
All right. Jill, I think you had a comment you wanted to make there. But if not, I have a question.
You go, because
Okay.
I just went blank.
Mary, when he says, I don't believe in counseling, what do you think he is saying there when he says, I don't believe in counseling?
I feel like he's just refusing to put forth any effort. He's not interested in trying.
Mm-hmm.
Have you asked him what it means to him? Because a lot of times when people say that, they're scared. They're scared of really leaning into the pain. They don't want to, he doesn't want to let go of his pain because perhaps that represents the child that was lost, right? And if he moves out of pain, then has he forgotten about?
Whenever we've talked about counseling in the past, it was his second wife talked him into going to marriage counseling, and he went, but he told the therapist that, the therapist told him that there was no hope for their marriage, and his reaction was, I could have told you that from the get-go. So that was his only experience with counseling, and any other part of it, it's just he's closed-minded to it.
Yeah. Well, it's sad that that's what happened in that counseling session.
Well, but he's generalized it.
Yeah.
That may have been true of their relationship, and the person was just honest. But that's not every relationship that enters a counseling room. Most of the time, we do see hope. That's a really rare incident.
There's a spark of light, Mary, in the sense that he is we define counseling, and he's defined counseling as that one experience. Counseling is a much broader thing than that. He's having counseling, believe it or not, by going to the thing at the church. He's not willing to go a step farther yet, but that may be a baby step that's going to bring him into it. He may meet somebody there who said, wow, I started here, but then we moved on to something that's a little deeper. But he's defining counseling as that one experience, and it's a broader experience. It isn't just one way. You don't counsel in one way. Yeah. So he may
anything that's growth producing. Is a form of counseling.
Right. And that's where, going back to the intimacy in marriage, things like that, that's counseling. People don't know it because they're having fun. They're going into depth with things, but they're away, whatever it might be. So sometimes like that is the thing that puts them in disequilibrium and goes, well, maybe I will go talk to somebody. If I've got a counselor at New Life in this program, whatever it be, it's not just intimacy in marriage, it's Restore, it's any of them. They're dealing with a counselor and they go, wait, I like this person, or this is a good experience. Then maybe they'll come back and say it's not like it was this other one. He got some bad counseling maybe.
So I'm going to do something that the people that run New Life, I used to, but they hate this because But here's what I'm going to do, Mary. I'm going to take away a big objective. I do believe that the most hopeless, desperate, hateful person has the greatest chance of turning around their life and the life of the marriage by going to intimacy in marriage. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scholarship you and him to the next intimacy in marriage. So you're going to say to him, so these people, they heard me, I told them our situation, and they said we could go free. So it takes that away. And then you would say to him, don't you think, since we've been given this gift, the least we could do is just go. Doesn't mean we want to go or you want to go, but couldn't we just go? Least we could do. And maybe, just maybe, what happens to so many people who go will happen there. He'll have an amazing breakthrough. I'm going to send you a couple of Life Recovery Bibles. You may have one. This is, the newest edition. What I love, when they do a new edition, the pagination stays the same. If you have one of the original Life Recovery Bibles from 30 years ago, it's the same page count, number, and all from the one that just came off the press last week. So I'll send you a couple of those, and I'm just going to hope that you would present to him the idea that he's been given a gift to help, and that I will pay the price for that gift. People, they'll be angry, but actually they won't be, because I'll take care of that. It'll work out. All right, let us know what he's going to do. 1-800-229-3000. Ever want to be on this program, and I'm going to go right there to Mark in just a bit, but we've got a break coming up, so I'm not going to go to you now. Also, when you are ready to do the thing that has helped the most deepest, richest problem become the deepest, richest solution, go to intimacy in marriage. You just call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, say, tell me about this thing. Why is it so special? Because it really does change everything. Also, I do a program called Life Recovery Today. It's on the NRB network, but you can also see any episode by going to liferecoverytoday.net. And today, this morning, the program was all about life recovery is for everyone. And Becky Brown and I talk about why that is. You could tune in there. We'll take a break, come back for the second half of New Life Live right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and in the studio, Mark, hang on. Right after Larry, we're going to go to you. Larry Sonnenberg, what do you have for us, Larry?
Finding Freedom Workshop on Saturday, the 1st of December, and it is, or is it the 2nd? It's a Saturday, 2nd December.
1, 2, and 3, I thought.
Yeah, emotional freedom is the one day, right?
Exactly. So right there in the middle of 1, 2, 3, there it is. But
anyway, it's one day, folks. We've lowered the bar. You can make it easy. You can do it at home. Privacy. It's simple. You don't have to travel. Don't have to pay for a room.
Too bad we don't have a testimony of somebody that went through emotional freedom.
Well, I'll give you one.
Well, okay. Well, let's hear it then.
I attended this workshop to learn how to find freedom from my current struggles that stem from past strongholds of guilt, feelings of inferiority, and enabling behaviors that have controlled my life. I learned about the negative reactive thoughts and emotions I needed to identify and challenge, the mindset and beliefs to now embrace, the behaviors I needed to change, and the steps I need to now take to transform my life and truly find freedom. So, folks, if you have those struggles, you got some past strongholds, these feelings and behaviors that have controlled your life, this is the workshop for you. Give us a call, 800-NEW-LIFE. They can tell you all about it. We've lowered the price because it's one day online, but if you still need a scholarship, we can help you. We're raising money for scholarships right now. People are giving. God bless you and thank you, those of you who are giving. And we're just excited about this.
Just imagine that you have held this bitterness towards somebody and resentment, and we're going to tell you how to get rid of that. You could be free of that. But you have to come be part of it for us to tell you how to do it and work through it. But no, you don't, and so then you end up 3-4 more years before it gets so bad you finally have to do something else. When we use the word freedom, we're not exaggerating. We're saying you could be free of those things. The fear that incapacitates you, the anger that just is cancerous to your soul. Or I don't know, maybe it's just this overwhelming sense of doom and despair. Give us a shot. let us destroy it in your life. And I don't know of anybody that says, man, what a waste of time that was. People are grateful when they give us that day, and we want that to be you, and you can find out about it 1-800-NEW-LIFE. What else do you have there for us, Larry?
Just thank you, everybody who's giving. It's been we've been blessed a lot the last couple of weeks by people stepping up and supporting, and can't thank you folks enough. We need to keep it going. This is your ministry, folks, and we don't do anything we can do unless you're standing right behind us, filling the coffers for us. So thank you.
And a gift of any amount. We send you Henry Cloud's book, Trust. It's a great one, just our way of saying thank you. And I'll say thank you to you, Larry, for bringing in that great testimony. Well, let's go to Mark. He's calling from Vero Beach, Florida. I don't know how he heard about us, but Mark, welcome to New Life Live. How did you hear about this program?
No, it's funny. I actually called CBN prayer line. They sent me a number to call, and that number told me to call this number, so I'm calling.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad that happened. How could we help you today? What's going on?
I'm based in a state of hopelessness, and I'm on the verge of giving up. I've been looking for work for 2 months in my field in the hospital. I was let go 2 months ago without warning, gone to my savings. I'm very angry. I'm very frustrated. Maybe that people don't get back to you, and you send resumes off, and nobody really cares or comes back. You have to chase after them. I'm so frustrated. I'm really on the verge of I just want to say, pardon my French, to heck with it, and give up on everything. That's where I am, and the hopelessness that I feel right now, it's really taking its toll on me. Lack of sleep, lack of eating. That's where I am right now.
Mark, I remember when I was out of a job, and I remember those feelings, and there was so much despair in me. It was so painful. So I'm so sorry you're going through this. And I don't know, for me, without a job, I felt like such a loser. And so, I was angry at everybody. Like you say, they don't call you back. They don't live up to their word. It's a horrible, horrible place to be. I'm just curious, are you married or single?
No, I'm single for now.
Yeah. Do you have anybody in your life that's a good positive influence, an encourager, somebody you can count on?
I have people at church I speak to, some very, very close friends I've known for like 15, 20 years, who encourage me, but that still doesn't solve the problem of the hopelessness I'm feeling right now, because people don't bother to get back to you. You're looking for work, you've got the experience, but nobody cares.
Right.
To call you back.
Well, I'm so sorry you're going through that. And, something I found out in my life, if I'm doing something over here, let's say to the left side, I'm doing something over here to the left, and I'm really just going overboard doing it, God often opens up something over on the right side. It has nothing to do with what I'm doing, but it's almost like the effort over here gets honored in some way, and out of left field comes this opportunity. And so what I want for you is that you don't give up. In fact, that you double your effort in what you're doing and just see if God doesn't come in from a different angle and provide for you. Because I really think that happens most of the time. But let's just say if I'm applying 5 places a week and nobody's getting back to me, rather than give up, maybe I say, if I'm going to ever get somebody to call me back, I've got to reply to 10 places a week. And so you dig in deeper, and then somebody comes up to you out of left field from church or whatever and says, hey, I've got a job opening here. I just want to encourage you to persevere. Don't give up. Don't stop applying, and see what God's going to do. Jim, your thoughts? Then you, Jill.
It bounced back to, Steve, something you and I observed this with you some time ago, and Mark, I want to tell you this. Steve and I were sitting with a guy who had lost a job. We were probably in our 20s, maybe early 30s.
Yeah.
And Steve's advice to him was, when you get up in the morning, get up early, put on nicer clothes, and start applying. And again, a lot of applications are online today. You know what? That guy experienced what Steve just told you to do. And it took him a while, but he found that job. But the point was, one day I saw him later, and I knew him a little better than Steve did. And you know what? He was in a tie. I said, "What are you doing in this tie?" He said, "Well, I'm looking for jobs." And he took that advice, and I think there's a part to that. I would say, do 10 or do 15 or 20 if you can. But the other thing I would add is, I sense that you're depressed, and because you're depressed, that always adds to hopelessness. And this is temporary. If you get that job and other things, there's a better life. There's a light out there. So I want you to make sure that you get an assessment to take care of what's causing this depression. Now, again, a lot of it's the job situation, and we've only talked about the job, but there may be some other things too. But make sure you take care of your depression, because that might even be blocking you from getting the job, just because how you're how you might be coming across. Jill?
Yeah.
Well,
good advice.
And Mark, for men especially, not that women don't experience this, but and you're not married, so you are perhaps defined by the work that you do. And men more so get their self-esteem from a job. And so I think you said you were just kind of out of the blue let go and didn't have really any warning. Your self-esteem takes a huge hit. That feels like such a rejection. And it's easy. Is that right? And it's easy to move into a lot of self-doubt. And people do get depressed when they are out of work. I know it feels like an eternity. 2 months is actually not a very long amount of time in this process. And if you could shift a bit, first of all, you do need to leave your house every day.
You do.
So you have to, okay, even though you're depressed and you don't feel like it, you need to do behaviorally the things that are good for your self-care, right? And also looking at, okay, you've had this time. What is God trying to show you in this time? And where are the other places you can plug in? You need to be in a men's group. There are networking groups. You need to develop a life within this time, because this time could end up looking like a gift later on.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to send you this devotional of 100 Days of Hope, and I hope we could get a counselor for you to take care of that depression.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. I want to tell you how my unemployment and just doing any interview I could led to New Life. I was unemployed, feeling like total failure, depressed. Mm-hmm. Well, I started doing interviews. And I was interviewing with this group up in Northern California, a venture capital firm. They were looking for someone to head up this big insurance company. I was involved in the longest job interview ever with these people. It was like a 6-hour interview. So they thought I could do this job. And I called them the next day and I said, you know what? I just feel like I have to do something more directly involved with my faith, and so just take me off the list. Well, I was really desperate then, because now I had an opportunity, and I turned it down. A few days later, these two men came to me and said, we want you to start a company, and we're going to find the money for you to start it. And I said, well, what do I do? He said, you pick what it's going to be. I said, well, if that's true, I'll create a little business plan for a Christian psychiatric healthcare company. I said, great. So a few days later, I'm back with them. I have my plan. And they say, we're going to go to Northern California to a venture capital fund and see if they'll fund this little concept. Well, you know who it was? It was the very people that I'd done that interview with. And they said, look, we were going to put you in charge of this big old multi-million-dollar thing. I think we can trust you with a couple of $1 million to start your own organization. And that was the beginning of New Life, 35 years ago this month. And so New Life was a for-profit, venture capital funded company. And when our revenue reached $92 million a year, because we had 36 treatment programs, Women of Faith, all this other stuff, Remuda Ranch, they decided it was time to sell. And I knew that was it. And that's when we spun off New Life into a not-for-profit. And so if I hadn't been getting up in the morning, getting dressed, willing to do whatever it took, I don't think it would have ever happened. I think God used the effort that I was doing over there, and then here it comes over here. And we're still here 35 years later. And for that, boy, am I ever, ever grateful. Don't give up on God. He has not given up on you. He has a plan. But sometimes we have to just stay moving forward, doing things that don't make sense. And he honors that kind of effort. Those who persevere receive the crown of life. It's not perfection sometimes. It's just persevering, and God steps in because he said that he will honor our perseverance. Anything you guys want to add to that?
That's actually a beautiful story and a great reminder to all of us. And it deals with work, but it also deals with our marriages. If we're married, it deals with kids who we're estranged from. Perseverance is a great phrase, and the Bible talks a lot about that. Sometimes we're not willing to put in the endurance and perseverance, but it's a great message, Steve. I actually wrote it down. I think you should tell that story more often to the New Life listeners. So good.
I will. You know what? One of the greatest gifts, and it's not something you actually do of your own free will, but if you have ADHD, you give this up pretty early. Perfectionism. When you give up the perfect, and you see that sometimes all I do is I need to get through this thing. And when you get through something, then you can go to work getting over that thing. And then you can go to work on getting beyond it. Mm-hmm. And that's the real gift. But it starts with just hanging on and getting through it. You just never know what God is up to or what God wants you to be up to. Now, and by the way, I'll just mention, I've told this before, Mordecai Ham, one of my favorite stories, had big tent revivals, and then the audience started to get less and less, and fewer people came to Christ every night. And one night he is in his hotel room weeping, some North Carolina hotel room, weeping because so few people came, and so few people came down the aisle. And he said, God, is this really all you're ever going to do with me? Why have you left me? What he didn't know is that one of those North Carolinians that night that came down the aisle and accepted Christ was Billy Graham. Mm-hmm. You just don't know what God's up to. And sometimes in the midst of us feeling like failures, God is producing a spiritual, miraculous victory that we won't know about till we get to heaven. Because, see, God is really, he's a big God and fascinating the way things work out. I'll tell you something else that's fascinating is that people decide to support this ministry. We had people investing in it in the beginning, and now people invest their gifts. And if you join Club New Life, we're going to say thank you by sending you a collection of 100-day devotionals. Topics like depression, anger, shame, fear and anxiety, character, prayer, healing, and peace. When you get through all of these 100-day devotionals, you're 3 to 4 years down the way, and it's going to be better, filling your mind with great scripture, great commentary, great quotes from people. I love these books, and will send every one of them to you for joining Club New Life. My mom was one of the charter members of Club New Life. And you could be a charter member of Club New Life for our next 35 years. So call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Or a gift of any amount, we will send you Dr. Henry Cloud's book, Trust. In addition, we have a few things going on. You've heard about Emotional Freedom on December the 2nd. Every Man's Battle is December 1, 2, and 3 in Dallas, Texas. And, they call Dallas Big D. Well, Every Man's Battle is Big D. The death to lust out of control, the death to a dead-end life that's focused on gratification, the moment, and focused much more on what God wants to do with your life outside of all the stuff you get involved with. And then Intimacy in Marriage, that'll be in February 16th through 18th in Orange County. I don't know of anything more powerful to change marriages in a shorter length of time, and if I did, I'd tell you about it, or we'd try to copy it because we want to do anything that can help people. Jim Burns, thank you for being here with us today. Always love getting to be with you and little reminders of old times. And Jim's got a great book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children. It's one of the most needed books ever that he's done. And Dr. Jill Hubbard, thank you for being with us. The Secrets Women Keep. The last book you did was
Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers.
Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers. And you did the foreword to a book that's really a powerful book about women, scripture, their role, and I forget the title of that. Do you remember the title?
That book has not been released yet.
It's about to be, though.
It's about to be, yes.
I just connected with that author.
Oh, good.
I was so impressed with that manuscript.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll tell you about that when it comes out. If you need help, here's the number, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you can help us, here's the number, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And you can be assured that we will be good stewards of any and every gift that we have, because we know so much sacrifice goes into supporting a ministry. I pray that God will bless you today and bless you every day, and that you're getting ready for the best holiday season ever.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.